Hello teachers. Today I'm going to discuss with you and share a lot of information about a very important topic, that is self-harm and suicide. Dealing with adolescents, you might come across many peculiar behaviors. One such is self-harm behaviors. What are these behaviors? You might see carvings, pinching signs, burning, and biting injury marks, and unexplained hair pulling and head banging behaviors in children. These all are characteristics and signs and symptoms of self-harm behaviors children are engaging in. They are not accidental, they are but intentional. And why would, now your question might be, why would they harm themselves intentionally? Okay, the major reasons behind engaging in self-harm behaviors are to reduce stress and anxiety. Already adolescence is a period of stress and turmoil, and they all the emotions are a little bit more inflated inside them, and they come across a lot of negative thoughts, and many children, you know uh, get into this behavior of self-harm because that gives them temporary relief from their stress. And then there's the emotional meltdown. They can't handle, they don't know how to handle their negative thoughts and the feelings they are facing, and what they resort to is physically harming themselves, or physically injuring themselves, or physically putting themselves into the pain, so that they get temporary relief from their emotional pain. These are the major reasons why children engage in self-harming behaviors. Other than this, there could be some peer pressure or group think, conforming to the group. Friends are very important at this age. So if my friend is engaging in a scratching or carving behavior, slitting wrist with blade, let me also do that. Or my friend feels happy when she does that, so let me also do, so that she also feels she gets a company to lessen her pain or her feelings of turmoil. So all these could be the possible reasons behind engaging in self-harm behaviors. And how can you spot them? You can spot these injuries often in children. They are always tied up in bandages. They are always covering their hands, wrists, and visible areas. They are wearing inappropriate dresses in seasons of summer, like wearing a full sleeve shirt or extra clothing or scarf to cover up their injuries. These could be the signs you can watch out for self-harming behaviors, and refusing to engage in any physical activity or event wherein they are in the threat of exposing the areas where they have harmed themselves. So these could be the signs you can watch out for children engaging in self-harming behaviors. Okay. So there are two types of self-harming behavior. One is NSSI, which is non-suicidal self-injury. This is with the ideation of getting temporary relief from the emotional pain or the thoughts they are going through the process of physical harm. In this, they have not yet thought about ending their lives, or they are not at that extreme stage, but then they are harming their bodies definitely, and then accidentally they may harm themselves seriously also. Then there is another type, which is suicidal self-harming behavior. This is kind of a precursor to a child or a student who is in the way of attempting to suicide. This could act as a precursor or a preparatory stage. Continuous harming. What is the like? How do we know that? If you see frequent such self-harming behaviors for more than a year or close to an year, and then there is no reporting of pain anymore in self-injury behaviors, there's consistency in self-harming behavior. These could be the signs that they are into a preparatory stage of suicidal behaviors, and they are concealing also. Now, why do they engage in suicide? Sometimes children often feel hopeless, worthless, and they are so surrounded by emotional upheavals and the negative thoughts that they are not able to handle, or they do not know enough coping mechanisms, and they have not shared with anybody, and now they are feeling worthless, and the only way out, they say, is to end their lives, to end their sufferings. And that is the first reason why they engage in suicidal thoughts. And then there is thoughts, and thoughts are backed up by preparatory acts, like finding out ways of suicide, finding out foolproof ways of suicide. You might, if you are very careful in observing and listening to them, you might get some hints of mentioning of death in their conversation, some kind of morbid behaviors, morbid conversations. All these can be precursors to engaging into suicidal attempts. And finally, they make attempts. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they actually commit suicide. And what are the ways how can we deal with it? Okay, so very basic, when you are able to identify a child who is engaging in repeated self-harm behaviors, first of all, confide in that child. Let's not label the child, and use basic communication skills of rapport building, listening thoroughly from the child, acknowledging his or her feelings, because what they are thinking is right for them, and not dismissing it with some kind of drama or something they are engaging to seek attention. Let's understand their perspective, their inner world, acknowledging their emotions and accepting them in a very non-judgmental manner, and also taking into consideration all the stakeholders. It is important that we inform the necessary stakeholders, the in charge of the school or the counselor, the parents, and if required, any kind of legal and medical help. And the immediate thing that you can do when you spot a self-harming behavior is giving them immediate medical attention and giving a psychological first aid, that is comforting the child, understanding the child, and valuing the emotions the child is going through, validating their emotions, that okay, what you are going through is difficult, what you are facing is difficult, must be very difficult for you to carry these emotions. Let's slowly try to understand. And when you feel the child is now calm and now ready to open up, you can slowly start questioning the need for such behaviors, and what is the idea, that is what is the thoughts that are making the child commit such behaviors, and slowly paraphrasing it to the child. And when you see that after repeated sessions the child is now settled, then you can definitely go back and question them, what would you have done better instead of such self-harming behaviors. Also, it is important to keep a very close watch to children who have suicidal tendencies, to keep them, you guard them, and keeping away all the sharp objects, loose clothing, and anything with which they can, attempt any kind of self-harm or suicidal behaviors. And frequent follow-ups. These children need repeated counseling sessions, so there should not be much gap between their sessions, so that there is no space for another meltdown to happen. These could be the ways with which we can handle a child who's engaging in self-harming behaviors or has a suicidal ideation. Keeping a buddy who can keep a close watch on the behaviors of the child. Also, very important point, you cannot promise complete confidentiality in such cases. You have to make them understand that it is about their safety and their life. Thus, it cannot be kept as a secret between you and the child. Rather, it has to be told to their stakeholders. These could be some ways we can handle a child who is dealing or who is going through self-harming behaviors or is backed up by suicidal ideations. Thank you so much.